was like, she knows what an iPhone is. You can just tell that she, like, knows what a cell phone is.
She's got the modern face.
Yeah, she's got the modern face. And the way they styled her a lot of the time, too, like, a lot of the stuff that she was, like her costuming, I was like, this is not from the 70s at all.
Welcome to Holiday Film Countdown. I'm Jamie Walter, and today we're going to Homan, Indiana.
That's right. This film is A Christmas Story Christmas, our 45th ranked holiday film. Hello, I'm Tim Walter. Layer modern-day nostalgia for the 70s on top of 80s World War II era nostalgia for an old-fashioned Christmas, and here we are.
Our first guest is Lilly Sheridan. Hello, Lilly.
Please let us know what you're drinking and give us a quick thought on A Christmas Story Christmas. Got to get that last Christmas out.
Hi, I'm drinking a Diet Coke, and I think that this movie is kind of perfect if you love the original and grew up watching the original, and if you're just into that kind of like true kind of Hallmarky Christmas nostalgia.
All right, and our other guest is Kit Taylor. Hey Kit, what are you drinking, and what's your initial thought on the film?
Hi, I'm drinking a Diet Coke like Lily, and I liked how warm and cozy this movie was.
All right.
I am drinking a gin and tonic again. It's kind of a theme here. I hit with the Waterloo Gin, and it's a local, and I really have been enjoying it. And my quick thought on the film is it definitely brought back some nostalgia. It's right in the era that I was growing up.
All right, and I am drinking a Poppy Cola, which we're trying to figure out exactly what they are, but it's some kind of a soft drink. And I was told it's from Austin, so I gave it a shot. It's pretty good. And I'm going to say why it is where it is in the countdown. It has enough to draw in all those folks who have seen the original over and over and over again. And you could tell that they put everything they had into it. That's what I'll say.
A Christmas Story Christmas was written by Nick Schenk and Clay Cadis, with help from Peter Billingsley. It was directed by Clay Cadis. He also directed another slightly higher-ranked film in this countdown. A hint is it went straight to Netflix.
Also of note, Vince Vaughn was a producer, and A Christmas Story Christmas was released in 2022. It's the second newest film in the holiday film countdown. Primary filming took place in Bulgaria, with limited exterior shots in Cleveland and a bit in Chicago at the beginning. Peter Billingsley reprises his role as Ralphie, our lead. It also stars Julie Haggerty and most of the original cast. We will discuss these actors and others later.
So Lily, tell us what history you have with A Christmas Story Christmas.
Well, my parents and I watched it for the first time last year because we love Christmas Story. Mm-hmm. It's one of those movies because it's on for, I think, 24 hours on Christmas Day.
Yes, it is.
We just have it on and you kind of watch the whole thing by osmosis throughout the day. You come in like different times. You see the beginning, watch 20 minutes, leave. See like the middle part, watch 20 minutes, leave. So you just kind of watch it by osmosis. And so all three of us love the first one. And my dad in particular, he's a little bit younger than Ralphie in the first one, but they're like around the same age. And so he grew up in upstate New York, so the winter is very similar. So it's like the first one is like true nostalgia for him. And so we kind of saw this pop up, I think, on HBO and wanted to just kind of give it a shot since it's same nostalgia, but like kind of turned up to 10.
Yeah.
Because it's like the extra nostalgia of seeing the movie every year since I was a little kid.
All right. And I remember you mentioning that when I was going through some choices for you. This one clicked with you.
Yeah.
You might be more sentimental than I am.
I'm real sentimental, especially about Christmas.
All right. And Kit, what's your history with this film? Have you seen it before? And if not, does it remind you of any others you've seen?
This was my first time seeing it. I've also only seen the original once.
What?
Yes. It doesn't particularly remind me of any other specific film, but that's mostly because I grew up not really watching many Christmas films. But it makes me think of all the Hallmark movies, which I love to watch now as an adult.
All right. And, you know, I didn't know this existed till we started doing this podcast, to be honest, but I have seen the first one, just the Christmas Story, many times. It is always on the background playing, just like in Lily's house, watching it going over and over on Christmas Day. But I wasn't aware that they had this one. And, you know, when I was doing a little research, since we were doing this, there's also another vacation one that's a spinoff. Do y'all know that? It's a summer one. Yeah. There is.
Of A Christmas Story?
It's
okay.
supposedly, a
Is it
spinoff
like a
from
Christmas in July kind of vibe?
it. It's not Christmas at all. It's just a summer vacation, kind of like
Interesting.
another Christmas story we know of.
Okay.
Seriously, yeah, there is.
All right, and my history is saw it when we were prepping for the podcast, and it's actually been on a little bit on the weekends, just regular TV a little bit. And I was sick, actually, and it was on, and I watched it for a little while. And I've probably seen the original about 10 times when you combine all the snippets on Christmas Day when it's just hanging out in the background, especially certain scenes. So that's my history with it.
All right, then let's check out the trailer.
Oh, life moves fast. One day you're playing kick the can with kids named Flick and Schwartz.
I triple dog dare you!
And the next thing you know, you're a certified adult.
Ralph, dear old man. Fragile. He was the best.
Ralphie, promise me we're gonna make this a wonderful Christmas. That would make your father so happy.
I promise. What had I done? And now it was all up to me?
I suggest you start drinking and don't stop till New Year's.
All right, well, I feel like the trailer did a good job of getting me interested and wanting to see the movie. I felt like it did a good job of pulling in the original Christmas Story and then a little few scenes from A Christmas Story Christmas. What do you think, Lily? Did you like the trailer?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's interesting how they don't really talk at all about the fact that he's a writer and that he's trying to be a writer. They don't mention that at all. It's much more just like a classic kind of Christmas movie like the original. They kind of make it seem like his dad has passed for a while, and it's really in reality been like a couple of days.
Right.
So I think that's interesting. That makes sense. They can only put so much in a trailer, but yeah, it definitely. I forgot I had seen that trailer, and I had forgotten. But yeah, I think it does a good job of kind of the tone of the movie and it being a true nostalgia bomb of the first one.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It just hits all the nostalgic moments that even people like me who really seen the movie that much understand the references for. So
Definitely. Triple Dog Dare and just the narration of Ralphie. You can see that's coming again because that was so profound in the first one, right?
Yeah.
And we'll get into that when we talk about the scenes. All right, let's go inside the numbers. This is our second straight to streaming film. Noel last week went straight to Disney Plus, and we have 3 more streaming films to come in the countdown. Yes, this one went straight to HBO Max, so we can only guess how much it cost to make, because when it's a theatrical release, we can get those figures. So what are we guessing here? How much did this film cost to make? What do you think? Any ideas?
at least a couple million, probably around like 10 or 15.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of remember from when this came out, they have a podcast, like the original cast, like
Okay.
Ralphie and Flick, like they all have, and Randy, they all have a podcast. And so I know that for a lot of them, it was like a passion project. So, but I would think like a couple million too, especially it was filmed in Bulgaria. I didn't know that.
When I imagine maybe the houses were still standing from the original film, but probably not. So that's a lot of labor of building all the sets.
So they reconstructed the house and the neighborhood in Bulgaria, is my understanding.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But when's the last time you built a house in Bulgaria?
A couple weekends ago.
All right, and A Christmas Story Christmas has a score of 2.9 out of 5 on Letterboxd, and we will all give our own reviews and scores later.
All right. Well, how did they do about getting us into the spirit of the season? What do you think? Let's talk about the tropes. Well, we could start with the Christmas tree. Oh, the Christmas tree, right? It gave me vibes of Christmas Vacation
Yeah.
when they were putting it up because it was too tall and he's trying to stuff it in there and it's scraping the ceiling and, the plaster or sheetrock, whatever it is kind of falling down from the ceiling. Gave me those vibes. Definitely a real tree, right?
Yeah.
Those branches.
Yeah, I think 12-foot tree, 9-foot ceiling. It's kind of like
Yeah.
Elf. I think Elf had the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And we had 70s tinsel.
Trees look great.
Anyone here do tinsel still?
No.
No.
Oh, come on, bring it back.
It's a choking hazard nowadays, I think.
Yeah.
What about the carolers? What do we think of them?
I love the carolers. I've only been caroling once in my entire life with a theater group I was with, but I love caroling.
Were you treated like these were?
Yeah, a little bit for some of them. Others kept apologizing that they didn't have cookies to give us, which I guess used to be a thing.
I've been caroling, I feel like one time too, but it was with my friend's like church group. And so it was like for the older people in the community. And so they knew we were coming. And yeah, so there was none of like the hiding or anything like that. They knew we were going to be there. And it was like mostly kids. We were all like, I think 11 or 12.
Yeah, no, mine was a group of high schoolers just watering one of the neighborhoods that one of them lived in. So, a little surprising for people.
We one time had carolers come. I think it was our high school choir or something in the neighborhood, and I personally loved it. I went outside and I stood there and I watched them. I thought they were awesome. But I was never in the choir and could never be in the choir because of my voice. But I do like to sing, alone in my car or shower or whatever. So, I love listening to people who sound good. So I don't understand the hiding. I guess those carolers were a little obnoxious.
I think the fear is that
They'll never leave?
there are other houses with no one home, so that when they find one, they're not going to.
They're never going to
Move on.
leave. That's
Yeah.
the fear. They're going to go on for hours, and we only want 10 minutes at the most.
10 minutes, that's a long time.
You think that's a long?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I would say 5 minutes or
5.
less.
Okay.
Like one song.
Yeah.
One song,
And
that's
then
all
move
you
on.
want, and
Yeah.
then you're done.
Yes.
Move on. Okay, I'm thinking 3 songs at least. But.
Okay, and what about the snow? Did it look real?
I thought it did, but
Me too.
you're talking to someone from Texas. I don't know. It looks real to me, but I've experienced one actual real winter in my life, and that was like 6 years ago.
I agree. Haven't been in a whole lot of snow myself, but it looked real to me. It was believable.
The snowball fight looked like
It
that
looked
was
real.
real because it went on and did not look like CGI.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
And the snowman looked real when the kids were making the snowman. It was a little, I don't know, distorted a little, which is how it's going to be when you're making a real snowman, You can't get them perfect.
None of the actors looked like they were filming on fake snow, like in the middle of summer or something. Sometimes you can tell the actors are just, you can tell they're sweaty and
Right.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, like
I
Christmas
agree.
Vacation.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest one. 'Cause
We've
they
seen a
filmed
bit of that,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was like they're all dripping sweat because it's like 90 degrees or something.
Right.
All right, well, let's talk about the actors and characters. So clearly the lead is Peter Billingsley. He plays Ralphie Parker, or Ralph Parker grown up. He was the star of the original as well, the 1983 film. He was age 11 then, playing a 9-year-old. He's been in over 120 commercials, and he was Messy Marvin for the Hershey syrup product back in the day. And he's been on numerous TV shows, mostly kind of sitcoms like Punky Brewster and The Wonder Years, so forth. How did we feel he did here?
I feel like he embodied Ralphie. He knows the character better than anybody, but he's just very similar to the Ralphie in the first one.
Yeah, I feel like they reminded him to look to the sky often, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, it's 33 years later that he's playing this role. And I thought he slipped right into the character. Maybe it's not a character. No, I don't know. But maybe some of it's not. But it was very believable. I felt like I could see that little boy in this man, So I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, and of note, he actually has a brief appearance in Elf, if you look for him.
Yeah.
and Four Christmases, another film that made our countdown. And so when you count the 2 Christmas Story films and those 2, that's 4. He might be the top dog here. We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
And he's had a lot of success behind the scenes in film production as well. So we also have Julie Haggerty. She plays Mrs. Parker, the mother. The original mother was Melinda Dillon from the 1983 film, and she blessed Julie Haggerty's playing of this part, and then Melinda Dillon passed away within 2 months of the release of this film. She was better known as Elaine on Airplane and Airplane 2, and she also played Mrs. Kringle in Noel, our number 46 film from last week. So what do we think of Julie Haggerty?
I think she was really good. I mean, her part is pretty different to the original mom, but I think that she kind of plays the role well of, you could tell that she's like Ralphie's mom, the way that she plays it.
Yeah, it was like the mannerisms, the little shakiness, a little unstableness that even in the first one that the character had, the mom character had. I felt like she played that role well here. I think it's the eyes, right? A little bit of the, is it beadiness? I don't know what it is, but it's something about her eyes. They speak a lot. But I will have to say that she did not seem like a woman who was mourning the death of her husband.
Yeah.
I know it was the goal to not act like it, but still, to me, that was not believable in any way. I mean, right from the start, when they get out of the car and she's greeting them, she's all like, hey, big smile, so glad you're here. Like I don't know. To me, I was like, okay, that's a little off.
Well, to go
Maybe.
along with your point, when he gets his brother to come back, he lies to his brother saying, like, she's so depressed, not getting out of bed. But then when he shows up, he's like, oh, mom's totally fine. Like, he also seemed to find it a little weird. But, yeah, it is a little odd.
And you're bringing that up, Kit, that when he's lying on the phone to his brother and he's saying, yeah, Mom, at least she said a word or she ate half a cracker. And then he looks into the room as he's on the phone and he sees her and he's like waving and she's like smiling and waving back like, okay, yeah, that just didn't seem like a woman who was mourning the death. But
Maybe she's in shock.
possibly.
It'll set in after the holidays.
Possibly.
I don't know. I'm just trying to look at all angles here.
Yeah, you are.
All right, and then we had Erin Hayes played Sandy Parker, who is Ralphie's wife, and she's mainly a television actress. Her most successful role was on a show called Children's Hospital, which was on the WB and appears on Adult Swim. It's kind of a dark comedy sitcom. And what do we think of her?
I think I liked her. I thought she was fine, but she's one of those people I did not believe she was from the 70s. I was like, she knows what an iPhone is. You can just tell that she knows what a cell phone is.
She's got the modern face.
Yeah, she's got the modern face. And the way they styled her a lot of the time too, like a lot of the stuff that she was like her costuming, I was like, this is not from the 70s at all. This doesn't look like it's from the 70s. Some of it was like fine, but I liked her. I thought she was good in her role, but I was like, she knows what a computer is. She knows what a laptop is.
Her eyes are too wise.
She also looks like much younger than the actor who played Ralphie,
Yeah.
and I mean, I know they're probably meant to be the same age, but she looks like someone who has modern skincare and access to facials.
That runs in the family. Remember how much older the dad was than the mom in the original?
Oh, yeah.
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 But didn't people aged badly back then, right? They didn't have sunscreen and they drank heavily, right?
I'm going to tell my dad you said that.
No, I agree with that. I think a 50-year-old now is different than a 50-year-old 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And even more so 60 years ago if you watch the old movies.
And definitely the costuming. I totally agree with you, Lily. I think it was Christmas Day, and she had on that sweater dress.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? That
From
could
the
be this
from
Christmas.
The 70s? Like, no way.
Yeah, even with the leather belt around. I don't know. I was just like,
I think everything looked not like a faithful recreation of 70s outfits. They looked too new.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I felt like the house hit it. But yes, I agree.
The
with
house
comments on
and
the
cars.
people.
The set design was really
Yes.
the set design was really good and believable, and some of the clothing, like Ralphie's clothing, I was like, sure, okay, yeah, I could believe that's 70s, but almost all of the women, the kids, it was like Yeah, this looks like you could go to Old Navy and like buy this now.
Yeah, I agree.
And the snowmobile looked like really new, and the helmets they were wearing, I was like, I don't think they had helmets like that back in the 70s.
Come on. Gen X's did not wear helmets.
Yeah, like I know they're trying to hide their faces, but I feel like they would have just put a plastic bag or something over their heads instead. A brown paper bag.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I agree.
All right, and then pretty much the rest of the cast returned for this film. Everyone except for the parents, which was amazing. I know the first film pretty well, and I know the kids' names, but they didn't really look that much the same.
No.
You had to look for it, I felt like. Watch the eyes, I guess. I don't know what y'all think of that part.
I think all of them except Ralphie. I mean, Peter Billingsley just looks the same.
Yeah.
And he's got those like really bright blue eyes too. But most of the rest of them, if I didn't know, I would have had no idea it was the same people.
Yeah, they did a good job. Oh, I'm drawing a blank. The one that's a cop. What was his name from
Scott
the original?
Farkas.
Yeah.
Farkas.
I mean, when they showed his picture and then him, I don't know. That looked pretty much the
I agree
same
on
for
him.
him. I
I
could
agree on
see
him.
him as a child to that. But the others, you're right. I wouldn't have known
Yeah, the barflies, they look
Yeah.
different.
exactly. And even the brother, right?
And the brother.
I wouldn't.
he
have-
looks really different. But
Right,
he was
I
like
would have
so
never known.
little. Like,
I
how
know.
old was he? Like 8 when they
Yeah.
filmed that movie?
Or 6.
or even
Yeah.
younger.
Well,
Yeah.
And also in that movie, in the original, he's like always in like onesies with the head
He's
thing.
in that
so, like,
huge, like,
yeah,
Yeah.
you only see like his
Yeah.
little bit of his face for most of that.
Do we have any minor characters who really stood out here?
Yeah,
Stepped it up?
I loved Julie. She was the best character, the little girl. She was my favorite.
All right.
Yeah, she had some sass to her.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, this feels like, what she tell her parents when she's decorating the Christmas tree? Child labor.
She
I
was
like
good.
it. Yeah, she was good. All right, well, let's move on to the scenes then. I think, I just brought it up about the one where the boy and the girl, they're decorating the Christmas tree, and the parents and the grandmother are sitting on the sofa drinking wine, and they're directing the kids. Nope, put it up to the left, move over to the right as they're putting the Christmas ornaments on the tree. I loved that scene because as a parent, I'm definitely guilty of getting your kids to do something that you're like too tired or you're just not feeling like doing and making out like, oh, you're doing great, keep going, don't stop till it's done. I know I'm a little guilty of that, so I could relate to that moment. And that's when she said, with you sitting there, this feels a little more like child labor. And then the mom says, well, it's not child labor if you're not getting paid for it. I love it. What did y'all think of that scene?
I like that scene. I think it's really relatable because I've put up like the Christmas ornaments on our tree forever, and for a lot of years, my parents would just kind of quietly move them up because I was like too little
Yeah,
to reach farther.
To reach
but,
the top.
Yeah, but now it's like I still do it. It's become a tradition, and
Yeah.
I do recognize that it was probably born out of like, oh yeah, you put the ornaments on the tree, so fun. But now it's like I'm like, all right, time for me to put the ornaments on the tree.
Right. It's Lily's job to do that.
How old were you when you realized they were moving them up?
I never did. They told me later.
Okay.
They told me later. I had no idea. I was in my world. Like I was like, this is the vision to
Yeah.
like for the Christmas tree.
You made it look like magic, even
Yeah.
though you were like, I don't know, 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right. Kit, did you have a favorite scene or a
I really like the whole shopping Santa kind of sequence and the mom and the grandma drinking in the bar. I loved that. I thought that was really fun.
I like that too because it was kind of like the other side of what the parents ostensibly did when the kids in the original were waiting to see Santa because they just left. They did the same thing. They were like, okay, we'll meet you back here when you're done with Santa. And then they left to go, I guess, Christmas shopping. And it was like interesting to see him having to kind of run around and like avoid the kids' eyes and like hide the stuff that he was buying from them. Yeah.
I have a theory that in the original, the father was drinking and the mother was running around.
It's probably
And
so.
then this one, they flipped it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it kind of brought back Bad Moms Christmas to me because they go in the mall and they start drinking. And in this one, too, they didn't go as crazy, of course, but they were drunk. Like, even after when they're leaving and they're in the car and you could see that they were tipsy from drinking at the mall at Christmas time.
Hey, it was the 70s.
I think I'm missing out on some of that. I don't
Come on.
know. I'm like,
We didn't have open container laws,
I guess.
especially not in home in Indiana
I guess
in
not.
the winter.
I guess not. I felt like a little bit that the bullies were a little too much with the kids. What do you think?
Well, especially because they don't know these kids. Like,
I
At
know.
least in the original, like, theoretically, Scott Farkus, like, knows them.
Yeah, they
Like,
go to school.
They
they're
go to school together, and
classmates.
it's just like, oh, these two random kids, like, let's just, like, destroy their snowman and, like, have it out for them for the whole movie.
Right. I thought that was like reaching a little far, trying to relate it back to the original.
Yeah.
Especially in the grand scheme of things, the snowman is quite easy to fix and remake.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, a kid would be upset if it was destroyed the first time, but I would have just remade it and moved on.
It's also like, okay, well, we'll go in the backyard. They can't get back there.
True.
Right. And
Yeah.
then the dogs too. Like what? They still have the same dogs like after 30 years.
I like that because I think it's funny that they've like continually re-up like the dogs.
The same dogs.
The same dogs. They have like it's like a one passes away and then they're like, time to get another dog.
Yeah.
And the
I
dogs
think-
trained each other to
Yeah.
hate the men on site.
I believe it's
Right.
a lineage. I think it's multiple
like
generations of the
multiple
same dog.
generations of the same dogs. For
I was
sure.
really hoping that the little girl was going to keep the puppy.
That puppy was so
I was like, why'd you
cute.
give it back to them? No, keep it for yourself and get the radiator.
Yeah, I know. I wanted both too. I thought that the scene at the beginning when Ralphie's at the publisher and he's wanting them to, I guess, sign his work or sign off on his manuscript, and he brings in the chocolate. What does he say? They're from
Marshall Fields.
Marshall Fields. I was going to say
Fields,
Neiman
yeah.
Marcus. Marshall Fields. They're the good ones. And then he opens up the drawer, and then there are more chocolates in there that he's been bribed with. Remind me of Elf, of course. I'm sure there's a few other movies that brought me back to that, you know.
Or the teacher in the first one who had all the gadgets in her
Yeah,
drawer.
she like all the things that she had confiscated
Yeah,
from
I'm
the
sure
kids.
that's what it was supposed to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
And then like when he tries to bribe the teacher for a good grade,
Mm-hmm.
where he brings out like fruit basket, which
Right.
makes me laugh every year. I think it's so funny.
Why do you think that's so funny? 'Cause
Just
you're giving
like
fruit.
Well, it's like this huge like tropical, but because everyone else is like, here's this like little thing for our
Uh-huh.
teacher, and he's like, here's a fruit basket.
There's a whole
with
basket.
a whole basket of fruit, and then he like stands there for like 10 seconds. He's like, yeah,
Yep.
here you go.
He's like, "Yep, I did it. I brought the biggest present."
Hey, back in the day, fruit was a big deal. Kids would get oranges for Christmas, especially in the Midwest. Like, to have fruit in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
So they don't get
That's a big deal.
scurvy.
I don't know about that part.
Right?
All right, what'd y'all think of the snowman trick with the tree?
I feel like I have heard of that actually being. I mean, I've seen things where like people reinforce their mailboxes, like the bottom of their mailboxes, because they'll have like a problem of people like running them over or whatever, and they'll reinforce them so it like really damages the car if they try and go. So that's what it reminded me of. I've never done that personally because I don't live in a place where there's snow.
Where you need to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, any other scenes come to mind?
I really like the Scott Farkus scene. I think it's funny because he's like convinced. He's like, I'm gonna die. Like he's gonna take me out somewhere and like kill me because he remembers me and he remembers the like beat down that I gave him when I was like 9.
Yeah, 32 years. I mean, it's
He looks like the same too. It was like him and his little like there was like that one little part where the toady was with him. It was like these two people look identical to what they did when they were like kids.
I really like the dream sequence part of that where he's in jail with his,
Yeah.
his wife and kids as adults show up. I found that really funny.
Well, it's like the son has like a British accent. It's
Yeah.
like he's like Sid Vicious. and
Yes,
yeah.
yes, exactly.
That was 1973. That was about 3 years before Sex Pistols. So
Yeah.
but
Perfect timing then.
they were. His son was a pioneer.
Some of the
Trendsetter.
flashbacks I feel like some of them felt like really genuine, like the original one, and some of them was like, okay, we're reaching for the stars here, and I don't know, but like the jail one, it felt like you'll shoot your eye out, where there's like one of them's dressed as like a witch and stuff like that, one of them's dressed as a Joker, like that kind of felt like that.
Well, I kind of felt that it was a little hokey in some of the daydreaming that he was doing. I know they were trying to tie it back to the first one where he was daydreaming about winning the award for his writing. And I think they were trying to relate it back to when he was in class and he thought he was going to get an A on his paper,
Yep.
about the gun. But it seems so childish for a grown man to be, daydreaming like that. And then at the bar where they're like, ride the ramp, I don't know. Some of that I was just like, wait, did these guys grow up or are they still, it was like, go get on, you can pay your debt will be cleared if you can ride the ramp. And it's like this big slide. Like, what?
All right. So what was the ramp really used for? What was the purpose of that
They
thing?
said it was the engineer corps, so
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It had like a sign that said military installation or
Okay.
something.
maybe it was like a
was trying to
test
figure that part out.
catapult or something.
All right. Just wondered why that was
Also-
anywhere.
Also, writing down a big slide like that compared to the tab he had, which looked like it was like a few inches thick of receipts, is that's quite a benefit on the drinker's side. Can't remember his name.
I agree.
Yeah,
So it was Flick and
Schwartz.
Schwartz.
Schwartz, yeah. Schwartz got away with murder in that
Yeah,
case.
he sure did.
Hey, he was ready to start again after that. Start another tab.
I thought it was funny how at the bar when the phone would ring and everyone would like freak out about the phone ringing.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, they definitely did date that back to no one having cell phones.
Yeah.
And their wives are looking for them like, is Junior there? Like, no, they're pointing like, don't say a thing,
That's very Simpsons-esque.
I
Yeah,
know, yes.
yeah.
Definitely had those vibes.
Oh no, the death knell for stool rats round the world.
Flex Tavern.
No one knows for whom the bell tolls.
Yes. Is Larry here? Is Larry Novak here? Nope, sorry, Mrs. Novak. Larry's not here. Yes, you have a Merry Christmas as well.
And just having the kid in the bar and then behind the bar making drinks
Yeah.
was so funny.
So my favorite part was when they all looked in Higby's window because it's just kind of like the visual of it and the same background music. That was the part that most brought me back to the original because that's how the original starts,
Yeah.
in that window. And they did a good job of recreating it.
You could kind of sense the feel of magic, right? The Christmas magic by looking in that window.
It was like a Sears catalog.
Exactly.
That part was so funny in the beginning when the son and daughter were looking through the toy section and the son flipped to the underwear section.
Yeah.
I
And
was
then
like, oh.
his dad sits down. He's like, he flips it back really fast.
All right, so quotable lines. Does anyone recall anything that they would like to retell?
I feel like there's nothing as iconic as like the original "You'll shoot your eye out." I feel like
Yeah.
everybody has said that, and it doesn't like hit with the same kind of like iconography as the first one.
Yeah, they didn't get that part. That's hard to do, but
Yeah, I totally agree with Lily on that one. But I don't really have a quotable line, but I like the sign that was in the bar that said, "In God we trust all," or "all others pay by cash," or something,
Yeah.
something like that. I was like, that's awesome. But I don't really have a quotable line.
yeah, just one little one I picked up on was when the dad came out to defend the kids, and they said, now you've done it. It's open season on us now."
Yeah.
Because I know how that is. The parents want to intervene, but sometimes you let the kids work it out.
Right.
Because once your parents show up, then everyone at school is going to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. And then they're after you more.
Yep.
All right. Well, the moral of the story. What comes to my mind is, and the mom said it, or the grandmother said it a couple of times, like, life's not perfect, right? I don't know if that's really the moral of the story, but it's kind of like you deal with what you get. And that's kind of what they did. And things worked out in the end, even for their Christmas presents. But anyone get any other different moral or character arc?
Yeah, I guess the main one that I kind of took away from it was don't stand in front of yourself.
Yeah.
You're getting in your own way.
Right.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Getting out of your own way.
Yeah.
Because like once he got out of his own way, he found success.
Well, and then also like honoring the dead or the people you've lost in different ways. And because that's kind of throughout the movie, everyone kept toasting to his dad and And then he finally had that story about, well, the My Christmas Story.
Which I think is like the best part of the movie, where you find out at the end that his narration in the first movie is the article that he wrote, the My Old Man that he wrote. It's like this through line where they like go from his reading to the original narration of the first one. I think that was really well done. They did a really good job with that because I didn't expect it. It was like, oh, I want to hear kind of what he wrote, and then for them to go right into the original movie, I feel like was really well done.
That was very clever, I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, I wasn't expecting that either, but I did think that was clever the way they did that. But then it was kind of weird because then you heard the original narration, and I thought he did a really good job trying to make it sound similar to the first narrator.
Yeah.
You know, but then when they changed the voice back, it was kind of weird, right? I kind of felt like it was kind of weird. Maybe it was just me.
I just feel like that original narration is so iconic.
It
like everybody
is.
knows that guy's voice.
Yes.
And it's not obviously not Ralphie, because
No.
Ralphie was 9 at
Right.
the time.
Right, for sure, for sure.
All right, hot takes. Does anyone have any hot takes from this film?
Just that Julie should have kept that puppy. That's it.
That's your hot take. You have any, Lily?
I don't know. I don't really think so. I mean, all I can think of is that I wish that like we had gotten to know a little bit more about like how like Scott Farkas had this whole thing where he was like, oh, well, I like broke the cycle, and it's like his kids are the same. His
Are
kids
those supposed to be his kids?
yeah. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, they're tearing around on a snowmobile. And it's like, okay, so your kids are exactly the same as you were, and you're like, yeah, I broke out of the cycle. I'm one of the good guys now. It's like, well, obviously not. I mean, they're the same.
It's going to
Yeah.
keep going with generations.
Yeah, seriously.
They need some recessive genes in that lineage.
Especially with the head trauma the kids got hitting
Oh,
the
yeah.
stump.
And the head trauma from Scott Farkas when Ralphie
All right,
beat the tar out of him.
I have a hot question. Would you rather be one of the kids getting bullied, or would you rather be the parents struggling to piece together their Christmas?
I would rather be the parents, but that's because I like crafting, so I would have figured things out. I would have had something. I would have made it special somehow.
She's confident in her survival skills there
That's
with
awesome.
the saving the Christmas. I
love
love it.
that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I guess I would rather be one of the parents. It's like, yeah, you could figure it out. You could figure out a good Christmas in some way, shape, or form, even if it's not the Easy Bake Oven and the sled. I never got an Easy Bake Oven either, and I wanted one so bad. But
They're foul.
well, that's what my
The
mom
food's
said.
inedible.
That's what my mom said. She was like, that is not going to make anything. We can like make things in the real oven. I was like, well, what about this one that's little and pink? I want that one.
And it's just yours,
It's
right?
like
That's
just
the thing.
mine,
That's right.
exactly. But yeah, I feel like you could figure something out with Christmas, whereas like kids game, I don't want to go back to that time. I lived through that in middle school. I don't want to do that again.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I'm with you. I mean, I feel like I could do something clever to come up with a good Christmas, but I don't really want to deal with the bullying, so I'll choose the parents struggling.
Okay. And then I have one more hot take. I'm going to say that since none of those kids actually became big child stars, they were actually alive, somewhat mentally stable, and available to make this film.
Probably right.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. I mean, yeah.
We've seen it go the other way.
Yeah.
Different
Yeah,
strokes,
for
etc.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Lindsay Lohan's having her kind of comeback right now,
Christmas
especially
movie.
in Christmas movies.
Christmas movie resurgence.
The one that came out this year, I think it's called Our Little Secret, is very funny and very good.
Okay,
So that's nice to see her
good.
stable and happy.
I mean,
Trying
we
to
root for
turn it
them.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is good to see.
They're often, they're just
I know, it's amazing.
adults steer them wrong or treat them wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Or
a
have to
tough-
grow up too quick.
Or they become entitled or some combination.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, then we'll move on to the parent guide, which is, it's PG, and I feel like that is totally appropriate for this movie. Agreed?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Right on.
Yeah. I think, yeah, it's pretty much for anyone, so. PG
You
is
don't need
good.
to walk out of the room at any
No.
point.
Nope.
You're there.
Not at all. Yep, it's all good.
All right, let's go on to the soundtrack. I only picked up on 3 songs. Santa Claus is Coming to Town by the Jackson 5. Perfect for the era. The Most Wonderful Time of the Year by Andy Williams. Kind of harkening back to the original. And then Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree by Brenda Lee, which is prominent in Home Alone and is now on the radio all the time. So, what did y'all think of the soundtrack?
I don't necessarily have something to say so much about the soundtrack, but the score, I mean, it's a lot of the original score, and I think they did a really good job, like, even just kind of, like, sprinkling it in with moments where, like, he would think about his dad, and it would be, like, the same, like, few notes that are so, like, recognizable, and when he, like, reads he's reading the story, My Old Man, it's, like, the original theme that, like, is so quintessentially Ralphie, like, when he's, like, crying in his bed and stuff like that, and it's just, like, and even like the not kids anymore, but like the three of them when they go down the ramp and stuff, it's just a lot of the same music, which I think is they do a good job with that because it again harkens back to like that classic nostalgia of the first movie.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like overall they did a great job of tying it back to the original scenes that were in the original one.
Okay.
All right, so Lily, let's rate this film. So 1 to 5. Tell me what you would rate it, 5 being the best and why.
And remember, Letterboxd is 2.9.
2.9. I think I'll give it a 3.5 because it's just like I feel like A Christmas Story and A Christmas Story Christmas, they just remind me so much of my dad, and we always like end up watching A Christmas Story, and I hated A Christmas Story when I was a kid. Like when I was a little kid, I hated it. And my dad would always watch it, and I was like, why? I don't want to watch this movie. But like now it's just like for him, that first movie is like so nostalgic, and you know, it's like a lot of it is about his dad, and it just reminds me of not his dad doesn't remind me of my dad, but it's just like similar in that my dad, they're like around the same age. Again, Ralphie's older than my dad because I think that the first one was set in the 40s and my dad was born in 1951.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a 3.5 for me. It's like it's got cheesy moments and like moments where you're like, okay, like what, not amazing, but
Right.
it just kind of hits that nostalgia factor for me, like personally and from the first one as well. Just seeing it a million times.
Okay. And Kit, what are you going to rate it?
I'm gonna rate it a 3.
Straight up 3.
Just middle of the road. It was fine, but again, I'm not a huge fan of the first one, so the nostalgia points don't really hit for me. But it wasn't the worst thing I've ever watched.
Okay.
I mean that in like the best way.
Well, I'm going to have to go with Kit. I totally agree. 3 is, to me, right on the money. It's a feel-good. Like, it gives me a lot of feelings inside, which is nice at Christmas time. But some parts of it, I was like, okay, that's stretching a little too much, and maybe they could have left out some of the scenes, I felt like. But overall, it's a good, clean Christmas film if you want to watch with your family.
Yeah, I'm going to go agree with Letterboxd. I think it's right on 2.9.
What's the 0.1 that you took off from?
For it being a middle of the road 3.
Yeah.
You know, I've got to go and look at the films around it in the countdown, and I know what they are. And I don't want to get too caught up in the moment because it's such a feel-good, and I had a good time watching it with you all, but I don't want to elevate it too much because of that feeling. Even though that's kind of what Christmas and holiday movies are about, I'm trying to not be a prisoner of the moment.
Prisoner of the moment. I've never heard that before.
All right, well, Lily, would you recommend it to other people to watch? And if so, who?
I think it's a good, like, fun Christmas movie. If you're into Christmas movies, which I am, I think it's a fun one to watch, especially if you like the first one. I feel like most people in America have at least seen part of the first one, so it's, like, recognizable in that way, even if you don't, like, necessarily be like, oh, I picked up that when he put the chocolates in the drawer, it was, like, a callback to, even if you don't pick all that up, it's, like, perfectly fine to watch with your family. I think it's great to watch with, like, you know, assuming that you're in America and, like, you have older parents, I think, or grandparents. It's great to watch with them because there's just the nostalgia factor. Everybody loves the first one.
Right.
And, yeah, I think it's a good one to watch with family.
Yeah.
And you, Kit, would you recommend it? And if so, to whom and why?
Yeah, I'd recommend it to anyone, I guess. I don't think anyone in my family is a huge Christmas Story fan, so I can't say I'd recommend it to them, but just like middle of the road. So yeah, anyone could watch it and enjoy it, whether they've seen the first movie or not.
Yeah, I agree. it's a good family movie, so I feel like any family that's like, oh, what's another Christmas story? We're looking for something else. Might mention it. Hey, have you seen A Christmas Story, Christmas? Because you can watch it with all ages. You can watch it with your grandmother or with your 5-year-old. Either one is appropriate. So I would recommend it for them wanting a good family.
I agree, especially since I was just thinking, I was like, all the Christmassy movies that have been coming out lately are truly geared towards adults. Like there's so many that come out every year now.
Yeah.
With Netflix and Hallmark and Lifetime, and they're all like they're not adult. Like a child could watch them, but a child would not have fun watching them.
Wouldn't want to.
Yeah, and this one definitely is more child friendly.
Right.
I'm kind of with Lily. As a younger person, I was not really interested in the original Christmas Story. It seemed kind of slow paced. And as I've gotten older, I appreciate it more. And I would definitely, although these folks are starting to move on, recommend it to people who grew up back in the day. And obviously, like you all mentioned, to people who have seen the original.
All right. Well, Lily, what is your favorite holiday film?
Oh no, this is such a difficult question for me.
know.
It depends on the day. I think it's probably It's a Wonderful Life. We always watch it on Christmas Eve, and it's so good, even though he goes so crazy in that movie. But it's such a good movie. The end of it gets me every time. It doesn't matter how many times I've watched it. And it's just so well done. It's such a quintessential Christmas movie in the best way to me.
Yeah. It's hard to argue.
Yeah. And you, Kit, what's your favorite?
Okay, so it's one that's not well known.
Okay.
My family's the only one I know who actually watches it. It is the film is called Scrooge. It is a 1970s kind of revamp of A Christmas Carol. So it's essentially the exact same as A Christmas Carol, just different music. But it is so good and so fun. We watch it every year.
It's not Scrooged with a D at the end.
No, it's just Scrooge. Just Scrooge.
Do you remember anyone who's in it?
I pulled it up on my phone because I was trying to remember when it came out. Albert Finney plays.
Albert Finney.
Yeah.
British?
Yeah.
Of
Whole bunch
course,
of
yeah.
there's like a whole bunch of famous people in it who
Okay.
I highly recommend if you can find it.
Okay.
Turner Classic Movie Channel usually plays it, and it's really fun.
Yeah, if you include all the remakes and the spin-offs, there are probably like a dozen versions of A Christmas Carol out there. Mm-hmm. And I was not familiar with that one.
You should watch it. The music's really fun. We found it because I did the stage version of it in high school.
Okay.
And then my mom was like, let's watch the original movie, and we watch it every year. We really all love it.
Oh.
All right.
Okay, Lily, is there anything that you would like to promote? Like any organization?
The Paramount Theater.
Your socials?
The Paramount Theater, the Austin Theater Alliance.
All right. Can't go wrong there.
Do they show holiday films there?
They sure do.
Okay, great. Lots, right?
Lots of holiday films, and they have snow before every holiday film. I think it's before and after, maybe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great time. Come to the
Sounds
Paramount
like
Theater.
fun. Everyone should check it out.
All right. And you, Kid, anything you want to promote?
I just want to promote Christmas decorations in general. I really love them, and the Paramount did a great job this year. And that's the thing I look forward to the most when I am back home in California. I go see everyone's lights and decorations.
Okay, so right before this taping, I saw Steve Janice, who is he's in the marketing department, but he's really the film program director here at the Paramount Theater. And he mentioned a Round Rock display in a front yard of Christmas Story scenes. And it's very well done.
He said there are like 8 scenes or something.
Right.
He and his wife said it takes like a week for them to put it up.
Wow.
I guess you got to go make a field trip, Tim, and go take a video of it.
And he said it's not really well known, so it's not even packed. You can just go see it anytime without traffic.
Well, now it will be
Yeah,
packed.
I know. Look what you did.
We'll see.
All right. Well, thank you for joining this discussion of our 45th ranked film, A Christmas Story, Christmas. Please like, follow, and comment on this podcast.
Yes, please share and spread the word about Holiday Film Countdown. Thank you, Lily and Kit, for joining us. And thanks to all of our listeners. Next week, we're moving on to our 44th ranked holiday film, which will take us to Austin, Texas.